All right, ETH Bitcoin holding it where it needs to hold. We've now had the deeper test into the clean test of it, which is lovely to see. And like I said a little bit earlier, that as a result of that, the altcoins are actually doing good today, whereas Bitcoin's not doing as good as most of you guys can probably see on your watch lists. So ETH Bitcoin's doing good. It's holding exactly where it needs to hold. This is kind of a fragile spot because with the structures on ETH against the dollar a little bit damaged, and the structure against Bitcoin dollar on the local definitely damaged. If we do see a big enough dump on Bitcoin, it's going to throw a wrench in this ETH Bitcoin chart most likely. If it doesn't throw a wrench, like here's a scenario, right? Let's say Bitcoin dumps 3% today. Okay, but ETH is pumping. When's the last time you saw that? When's the last time you saw a Bitcoin pump or dump 3%? That's pretty big for Bitcoin nowadays. Back in the day, that wasn't a big move, but nowadays 3% down is a pretty big move for Bitcoin. What if we see Ethereum pumping like hard when that's happening? And that's going to be the first sort of crazy relationship we've seen between the two in years. And I think that possibility is getting a little bit higher. Maybe it's wishful thinking on my end, but I can see a world where that happens because we've had little hints for the past 6 months or so that ETH is starting to show some strength in spots where Bitcoin's not showing as much strength, which is for the last couple of years has not been the case. Usually ETH is heavily tied to Bitcoin in a negative way. If the last couple of years, if Bitcoin's up 2%, ETH is up 5%. If Bitcoin's down 2%, ETH is down 10%. But we'll see how that goes. What are the orders on the side for? The orders on the side are the derivative orders. There's some spot orders in there, so there's some buying and selling of actual Bitcoin mixed in, but a majority of the orders that are coming in are actually leveraged orders, like futures, perpetual contract orders. So there's both, but a majority of those are leveraged orders coming in. Yeah, so people actually opening trades and closing trades. So the green could be either people leverage longing, or it could be taking profits on shorts. Whereas the red could be taking profits on longs or leverage shorting. But yeah, those will roll in. And if you want to see, it's going to, if it's your first time here, Rect, yeah, it's the aggregate trade, yeah. So it's probably not your first time here, but you're gonna see these go crazy here once Pal starts to speak. We're gonna get a lot of orders rolling at the same time, which is gonna be pretty fucking entertaining, right? Hopefully to the top side, but obviously downside volatility is still a risk. So the ETH dollar chart did get damaged a bit, just like Bitcoin, but it has pulled itself up quite nicely. We didn't get any 4-hour div. It would have been lovely if this was a 4-hour bull div, but it's not. It's an hourly, and there's a little bit of data in between it, but the areas to look for on ETH, we did build the staircase up quite nicely, similar to how we did it on Bitcoin. It's a little bit harder to read this chart. ETH sometimes can get a little bit tricky. Normally it's Bitcoin that's trickier, but in this case it was ETH a bit. So we had the retest on ETH already. Might have been front run on a couple things, but the spot pretty much tagged it perfectly. So let me put these charts side by side so you can see the similarities. So let me zoom out for Bitcoin here and show it to you. I'm going to clean this up again. Actually, just clean it up a little bit. So see if you can follow along here. So this is the first low on Bitcoin that sort of that we're looking at on the staircase, and the first low on ETH on the staircase is here, right? So here and here. Then the next one on Bitcoin is here, which we followed up on ETH, which would be here. And then the next one on Bitcoin is up here, which we follow along on ETH, which would be there. Okay. We had a nice hold here, a little bit floppy on the first go around, but finally had a good test of it. Which is similar here on Bitcoin. The next one on Bitcoin was this test, right? And the next one on Bitcoin was this test. ETH was here, a little bit of a front run. And then the damage of the structure what happened when this failed, when we went back to this instead of just sending it higher. And the same thing can be said about ETH. And so the area where Bitcoin would be bailed out after this got hit, which would be the next one down, which is here, which is why the arrow's here. Now, when we look at ETH, the next one down is actually already happened. So All I see is a Batman signal. Yeah, it's the Gartley, dude. It's the Gartley. No, it's not, but it does look like the Gartley. Anyways, ETH already got the test of it. We got 1 hour bull div, so we'll usually be looking for the high that created that, and then a high time frame test of the support turn resistance, potentially, depending on what kind of volatility we get from the PAL speech. So basically, on ETH, you want to get back above 4,060. If you can do that in a big way, then you're looking a lot better, and then you can look for the retest of that. And then we can go for the topside liquidity here, which is the same thing on both BIT and ETH, which is where all the short sellers on the higher time frame are sort of dogpiled in right now. Okay, so FOMC just started. You're seeing the volatility roll in. You see those orders flow in. I don't think Powell's speaking yet. Let me just make sure. No, not speaking yet, but FOMC started, so people are going to roll those orders in, as you can see. You don't fuck with the footprint charts. I'm not a huge fan of order flow, no. I mean, you can look at the DOM, you can look at, you know, the delta. But as far as order flow is concerned, it's good, but it's not like, it doesn't influence my decision making as to where I'm going to look to long or short. The reason being is because you see how we're kind of in a zoomed out chart here, right? So this level comes to us from the 14th of October, so a couple weeks ago. If we get here, again, at the same level, you could see on the order flow a bunch of big sells come in, right? And those big sells, you could be like, okay, if all these big guys are coming in and selling big, that must mean they all think it's going to go down, so it must go down, right? So I'm going to sell big too, and then the price reverses up. Because when you're looking at the order flow, a lot of the time you're zoomed into the intraday, you're zoomed into the low time frame, so you can only really see, like if I zoom in, you can only really see this without really knowing, you know, what's the logic behind all that. Also, a big market order is not indicative of, for every big market order that you have, you've got the same thing on the other side as a limit order or a bid or an ask. Right, so order flow is not bad, but it's not like, you know, I don't use it as a holy grail or use it for, you know, this is where I want to long, this is where I want to short, because other people are long and other people are shorting here. But yeah, if you want to use it to complement, you know, your analysis, that's not a bad thing. But yeah, that's the side-by-side. That's what I was kind of looking at the whole way through on this micro structure that we built for the last couple weeks, and that's what I'm looking for here. But yeah, ETH is looking better, man. Alts are doing better because of it. It's lovely to see. Very happy with that. I do want Bitcoin to do better too, but you know, in these kind of circumstances where you do have a down day on Bitcoin, it's not surprising if the alts are getting slammed hard too. But yeah, if you're normally using order flow and you're normally looking at the market from a quantitative standpoint, or you know, algos and all that jazz, that could work. Most of the time it doesn't, right? For those that have actually tried to go that route, 99% of the people that build bots and algos and try and take the quantitative route usually fail. But the point I'm trying to make is you can get a lot of information just looking at the price action and looking at how these structures formed as a result of that price action. So basically you can get, in my opinion, everything you need just from the fucking price. I mean, look how much we're able to derive together just from looking at a price chart.